Hi, my name's Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Today I want to talk about these new jobs that have been advertised for developing archery in Australia. Now, the first thing is these jobs exist in, I'm going to say 4 states: New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria, and South Australia. They may exist in the other states as well, okay, but they're the ones that sort of stuck in my head. They've been funded by the Australian government, and I think they're going to be working with Archery Australia and the state bodies. So, look, I read a little bit about it, and I'm going to link the jobs because you might be interested in it. And I just want to discuss it in the video. So I was like, this is interesting. So I've been in archery for 42 years, okay? And the purpose of archery, or why you get into it, or the associations, is to foster and promote archery. So grow the sport, get more people shooting. That's it, right? Some people think it's about to send a person to the Olympics, okay? And that's been the whole focus of sending a person to the Olympics. And that's great. And maybe the purpose was, that Simon Fairweather wins the gold medal back in the year 2000 at the Sydney Olympics, right? But the purpose has always been to foster and grow the sport. Now, I question how much it's grown and how much it's been fostered in the 40 odd years I've been in the sport, right? Numbers are a bit mixed and a bit up and down, but it is what it is. So, what's this role going to do? And how you're going to do it? I just want to put down some of my own thoughts about stuff that we've done and my thoughts about how you promote and grow the sport. Okay, so it's just a conversation. Look, if you apply for the job, you can put your own spin on it and do what you want. You can write what you want. This is what I would do if I was applying for the job, and I'm not applying for the job. Okay, right. So it's $85,000 a year. So as I understand, to promote and foster archery. So you want to have a bit of a thing for archery. Because if you don't have a thing for archery, and when I say a thing for archery, a passion for archery, I find it's very, very hard to kind of relate. Now, we do have people in running archery in Australia who've got no background in archery and they don't do archery. And I say to them, you're wasting your life. Like, just get out, and I'm not having a go at you. You are wasting your life because you don't understand the passion. You don't understand where people are coming from. You don't understand why people get in the sport and why they get out of the sport and why they drop and why they... You don't understand it because you've never done it, right? So anyway, I think you should be an archer. It's not a requirement. You don't have to be an archer. You can be the local fruit and veg guy who's never shot a bow in your life and apply. Okay? It's just an open position. Right, so my thoughts on this. All right, so I used to, and my family used to go to schools and do school coaching programs, okay? So we'd go to a school and teach archery for an hour. There'd be 20 kids in the class. You'd teach archery and then you'd leave. That's a school program, right? Now my question would be, does that foster and promote archery? Well, it does. It gets people thinking about, well, this is a sport I could do. So there's one thing you could do. You could set up a school program. In America, you have a school program where you compete against other schools. You could set up a school program where schools compete in archery. I think that would be very, very good. That'd be a very cool thing to do. So you could have the school coaching programs, and it can be a team sport, and then schools can compete. That'd be just like every other sport, like netball, basketball, baseball, cricket, football. You compete. You compete with archery. And I think you could sell this. I think you could sell it to schools because for the kids who are not as athletic, who is not as sporty, not as fit, this will be it. I mean, asthma is up. Like I had asthma, I have asthma. And doing running sports was hard for me, right? So archery was great because, right? So I think archery is a great sport. It has lots of benefits, and I think there's lots of work done in America on their junior program, schools program, on the benefits on kids' studies for doing archery. So I think you could just go, look, this is a plan to get schools into archery. Other stuff you can do. Now, you can try and get more clubs doing more beginners things, comes and tries. Now, the problem with this is a lot of clubs will have trouble getting coaches to coach. Okay? So they're not that keen on all the work involved with coaching, right? So I was talking to a person from my old club in Canberra, and I was like, how often do you do beginners courses? And he said, I'm going to get it wrong, but twice a month, where I used to do like every Saturday I used to be there, and people would come along, the shooting line was full. So 100 archers shooting all the time. That's because I was giving up my own time and my own shooting to coach all these people on the shooting line. And that club made lots of money by doing it. So I think you could set up a program where you pay people to coach, to bring people into the sport from the clubs. Okay, so the clubs have a program where it's like, 1 hour, come and try, and we'll put people in who get paid to do this, where people get money for shooting. Sorry, they pay for shooting for an hour, and the coach gets paid some money. And it's not really a beginner's program, it's more of a come and try for 1 hour. So like basketball and stuff, sports which go for an hour only. So 1 hour at archery, we're going to pay the coach, we're going to do this. I think the other things you could do to promote the sport is improve the level of competitions. So that could be address all the issues you have with shooting in competitions, and I've got a whole list of them, of why I don't want to shoot competitions, and things I would like to see improved in competitions. You can fix up that to get more people shooting competitions. As it is now in my state, South Australia here, we have, let's say, 1,200 archers. And when I say 1,200 archers, we have 1,200 target archers. In the state, there might be 10,000 archers. And at a competition, on a good day, we get 50 archers. So we're talking, 5% of the target archers turning up, or as a percentage of the overall competition of the potential archers in the state. I mean, it's not even 1% showing up to a tournament. Where running, I'm going to pick running and other sports like that, they have fun runs where 10,000 people come along and they participate. Golf, you come along and you participate. You don't need to be doing a club activity. It's a thing to get more people doing it, okay? You could set up teams for archery. You could have competitions between the clubs and give out prizes. So that way you encourage the elite archers of each club to compete against elite archers from other clubs, so that basically it's a lead up to the next level, the state level and the national level, okay? And that can be for kids or for adults. I think there's a whole thing about increasing the number of clubs in the state. The more clubs you have in a state, the more archers you will get. So when in Western Club, which I was president of, we had 100 archers, and they were all within a few Ks of the club. They were all very local archers. So the more clubs you can have, you can set up more rural clubs, more regional clubs, find more locations, talking to councils to set up clubs. I think that's a big thing. I think the National Disability Program in Australia, big thing. You can get more archers doing that to help people with their disabilities, right? I think there's so many things you could do to get more people shooting a bow. I think you've got to have more conversations about the rounds that are available, because at the moment you go to archery and you're there all day. You need shorter time frames. People can't allocate all days. It absolutely kills me spending a whole day going to a tournament. It's like, that means I've got to block out the whole day. I've got to find someone to look after my dog. It's a whole day, where if it was like 2 hours, it wouldn't be a problem, right? So I think there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with that. At the end of the day, you need more people participating in the sport. So if you win this position, you can justify your payment, okay? So you want to say, well, these are all the measures I've got in place. This is what I want to achieve. And then you have a measurement of how many archers there are in the state, how many people can compete, and then the following year you can report on those on your performance. Now, as I said, there's going to be about 5 of these people. So if I was running for one of these positions, I would want to be the best of the 5, because that's just the way I am. So I would want to monitor my performance against the other people. Okay, now they may not be doing it. I'm going to say most of them will sit at home and do nothing, right? That's my gut feeling what will happen, just because I know the way people are. That's not me having a go at them. I sound like I'm having a go at them. I'm just going to say most people are going to work from home, and they'll be like, here's my $2,000, $1,700, $1,500 coming in a week. She's beaut. And they really won't put the work in that's needed. Okay, that's what I think will probably happen. But then I assume Archery Australia or the bodies will then look at it and say, is this position worth continuing to fund? Now, one of the things I want to talk about in this developing the sport of archery and the development of archery is the Olympics. So it's always been in the past, we want to send a person off to the Olympic Games. Okay, so we'll take our top archer and we'll allocate tons of money to that person, and then I hope that they will go to the Olympic Games and do well. It's always been our aim here in Australia for as long as I can remember. And people can argue the point whether it's been successful or not. In Korea, you have tons of archers trained by good coaches who are trained at school by good coaches, good Olympians who are training them to be good. And then they go through the high school. Again, trained by Olympians, trained to be good. And then they go out and they're good. And then you get this Olympic team and you get these amazing 19-year-old girls who kick everyone's butt. So I question whether it's just sheer numbers and the process of which they go through. Okay? So if you could have, in this state, in my state, if you could have 200 kids shooting a bow in competitions, I think the standards would improve. I think the standards overall will improve. You would have more boys and more girls, and you just get better people coming through. That doesn't mean to say you will get an elite archer come through. It just means I think your chances are improved. So I'll leave you with that. I'll do a link to the jobs, so if you wish to apply, you can think about it. And you can... And lots of people say, well, what do you know about applying for jobs? Because that's just the way people are. I was a director in health. I was the youngest director in the Department of Health for, I think I've got my directorship when I was mid-20s, 29, I think. I had 2 departmental awards for my work. Anyway, like, I'm not here to brag about my stuff. It's just lots of people go, what do you know about applying for jobs? Anyway, that's my advice. Take it or leave it. Do what you want. Don't blame me if you don't get the job. When I used to employ lots of people and stuff in the Department of Health, and you give people feedback, they always got a job straight away. They just needed to be pointed in the right direction, and they just used to get jobs straight away. So anyway, if you are applying for it, I wish you well, and I hope you do a good job with it. Because for me, I put lots of time and effort into archery to improve the sport, to get more people involved. And I would like to see more of that done. And I think it's really good that these positions have been advertised. And I hope they are successful. Because I've always wanted the promotion of archery and the development of archery to be the key. And to me, it's always been the key for that Olympian. Whichever Olympian has been for the 40 years, that's always been the focus. Which may or may not be right. I just like the idea of getting more people into the sport. And it's not because I sell archery gear. It's not because I sell bows. I would be more than happy if there was 50 archery shops in Australia. If there was 100 archery shops in Australia. It was very sad during COVID when lots of archery shops closed down. Because if you close an archery shop down, then you're taking away a whole bunch of archers around the area that rely on that archery shop coming in there. So... Anyway, I'll leave you with that. There's the job. Take it, whatever you want to do. Thanks for watching. Bye.